Snickers satisfies. All right, Mariucci, that rant was for you. Did you hear that whole thing, Steve?
You know what I would do if I were there, Rich?
What?
I'd give you about 18 Snickers bars right now because you're not yourself when you're hungry. Oh, my God. That's that New York that came out.
Steve, 6 picks? Come on now. I know the Chiefs' defense is good, but that's ridiculous. That's an embarrassment. 6 interceptions in a game.
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. Yeah, and then, Decker and Brandon Marshall only catch 4 balls between them. When I was coaching, if I didn't throw the ball to Jerry Rice or Terrell Owens, and if the 2 of them only had 4 catches, I would have a geez, I don't know, it would be awful.
Seriously, you'd hear from him? You'd get an earful from him?
Oh, I got an earful from Jerry Rice right during the game in the second quarter on Monday Night Football one time at the Washington Redskins. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it was awesome. The cameras caught it too.
What happened?
So we threw a post to Jerry Rice. This was at Washington, and Darryl Green caught him from behind. It tackled him. It was like a 50-yard post bomb. Boom! Darryl Green got him, and I think that really bothered him. Okay, and then he only had like 2-3 catches. Well, all of a sudden, I'm standing there when the defense is on the field, and he comes up and he starts going, "What am I, a decoy around here? Why don't you throw me the ball?" I'm going, "Oh my God!" This is when I was a rookie coach. I go, "This is awesome." And so Winfred Tubbs just intercepted the ball, right? So I go, "Okay, fine. We're like in the red zone. I'm going to call post corner to Jerry Rice, Fox 2, X and Y hook, Z, post corner." All right, so I call the play for Jerry to catch a touchdown, just to calm him down. Mm-hmm. And I look back. I'm looking on the field. He's not out there. I look back. He's still on the bench. He's still pouting. He's still mad at me. He's not even out there. So we threw a touchdown to somebody else. And then by the end of the game, he came up to me, and he put his arm around me and goes, "Hey, I lost my mind, didn't I?" I go, "Yeah, you did. You're crazy." And he was funny, though, but he would lose his mind sometimes like that. Well,
in that regard, Steve, it's perfect segue to Odell Beckham Jr., what we saw on the sideline yesterday. And Coughlin spoke to him about it last year. And what does Ben McAdoo right now do with Odell Beckham, who is balling out when he gets the ball, but then you see him kind of melt down in a way that even Eli Manning said after the game that we all have to maintain our composure and stay on rhythm.
Yeah. Wow, he punched that kicker's net. I've never seen a kicker's net hit back like that before, and it's hit right in the face. And then that's maybe why I was crying. Yeah, he's an emotional guy. Let's put it that way. Good player. That was a fun thing to watch with Josh Norman. Traveled with him 54 snaps. Wow, that was a good battle. But yeah, he just lost it, didn't he? Hey, it's an emotional game on the sideline. It's a different world down there.
But what does McAdoo say? What would you do? Would you pull him aside and say something to him, or what?
Yeah, when things calm down like they will today, and then me, I would probably kid him about it, make him laugh and just say, "Hey, you're a crazy guy, aren't you?" He goes, "Yeah, I am," and I'd laugh about it, and then you bring it to his attention, and pretty soon he's a young kid too. He's growing up. All his fame. You saw that video when he went over to Germany. Yeah. It was like a rock star, and so some of that. These kids need to learn how to handle that. Just relax, chill, and have some poise. You're going to lose sometimes. Don't get used to it, but at least do it with some dignity.
Steve Mariucci joining me here. And when you were telling that story about Jerry Rice and the play call that you mentioned what the play call is, just hearing that for the average fan, it just sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook. And then you see all of these young quarterbacks come in and start mastering stuff. I mean, Wentz is doing a West Coast offense here. And he's 3-0. What is Doug Peterson doing to get this kid up to speed? Is he simplifying the playbook at all, from what you could tell, Steve?
Oh wow! I'm looking at their formations and then what they're calling, and I'm looking at this offense, and it's probably the purest West Coast offense that I'm watching on Sundays right now. And Doug was with us when I was with the Packers. And then, of course, he was with Andy Reid in his version of the West Coast offense, and it's a good system for Carson Wentz. I am so impressed with the kid. The only criticism I had last week with the guy is he wasn't protecting himself, and I didn't want him to. Hell, he had broken ribs in the preseason, and he's taken all these hits. So he ran out of bounds a couple times in this game. He's making good decisions. Hasn't thrown a pick yet in 100 passes. Amazing. And I'm watching them. We all are. They have a bye now. They can self-evaluate and really look at their self-scout and analyze things. But then it's going to get a little tougher for the Rook. Their next 4 out of 5 games are on the road, Rich. At the Lions, at the Redskins, at Dallas, at the Giants, and the only home game is the Vikings. Great defense at home. So it's not going to be this easy all the way through. But I really marvel at these young kids, not just Carson Wentz, but there are several young quarterbacks in the league that are better than expected.
So, based on what you're seeing with the West Coast offense, he's not pulling back the reins. I mean, he's letting loose full playbook with Wentz.
Of course you do. You give it to him as he practices and can absorb it, and you're going to run some of the same concepts with different formations and different personnel groups as he progresses. It's just a matter of how much you can practice and how much you can practice well. Now with a bye week, I'm sure they're going to add to his arsenal of what responsibilities on the line of scrimmage, when he can check to runs and passes and all that. But he's a smart kid now. Maybe he didn't go to Harvard, went to North Dakota State, but you know what? He's a smart kid. It's a heck of a school over there. But this kid's got it. I'm very impressed with Carson Wentz. He's got it.
So we had Troy Aikman on before you earlier this hour, and he said the same thing that Michael Irvin said before the season, and what Irvin said on our text chain amongst everybody last night when we were giving him grief for how Jason Garrett's going to end up benching his guy Romo because how well Dak Prescott is playing. He said exactly what Irvin said. Troy said that when Romo's healthy, he's going back in no matter how well Dak Prescott is playing. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I do. But I know that the Cowboys realize that it's coming near an end for Tony. Right? He doesn't have a lot of time left playing. He's been hurt a lot. But they also know they've got their next guy, and they're training him and they're playing him right now. Dak Prescott, when he's playing, he stands in the pocket. He's got a throwing motion like Warren Moon, okay? He's a mobile guy. The other thing I watch with these young quarterbacks, and I hope Tony Romo comes back healthy and plays well and all that, but Dak's their future, okay? And you watch this kid do interviews, okay? You say, well, what's that got to do with, playing football? It's got everything to do with his maturity, how he articulates, how he presents himself, the fact that he credits his teammates and his coaches, and he's humble and he's sharp. He gets it. I'm really impressed with Dak Prescott off the field, on the field, the whole thing. He is their future, but yeah, they're going to play Tony Romo when he's healthy.
Why?
I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that he stays healthy.
Yeah, of course.
He's had too many injuries.
All of us do, because Romo's a great dude, great guy. Everyone roots for him, when you get to meet him. But why would you? I mean, haven't we seen this movie before? I mean, 3 games. As you know, I texted part of the chain last night. I'll share it with everybody. That Irvin's like, no, they're going to go back to Romo, and I texted, but that's what everybody said about Bledsoe after the third start for Tom Brady in 2001. That absolutely they're going back to Bledsoe when he's healthy, and then when it was time, they didn't do it.
Have your crack research crew look at Brady's 6 or 7 games, his first games, and see how he did and see what his record is. I don't know. I'm curious. But it looks like Dak, what is he, 2-1 right now? They're at the Niners. I think they can beat the Niners. But then it's the Bengals and at the Packers, So chances are he's going to be 3-3 at the bye. Is that good enough to say we're going to bench the third highest rated passer?
No, correct. If he loses 2 of his next 3, then I'm with you. But I mean, taking a look at here, I'm going to call it up for you, Steve. But if he's 4-2, if he's 5-1, I mean, how could you go ahead and go back to Tony? And I think the world of him. I'm not trying to drum anything up here, but is that Brady went 11-3. I mean, come on, yeah. Well,
I don't know if Dak's going to go 11-3, and I love Dak. Because after the bye, it's the Eagles, and it's
Brady went. Just so you know, Tom Brady went 3-2 in his next 5 games.
Okay,
and they still stuck with him when it was time for Bledsoe to come back. I guess we can just reserve that, put it up top, and put a pin in it, as they say.
That's one example of many that worked out, and some of them don't work out. So it's going to be. Hey, the good news for Cowboys, all right, for Cowboy fans, they've got their runner. They've got their quarterback for the future. They've got a great offensive line. It's fairly young. The future is bright, and you know what? It's in a division. It's in a division that's really up for grabs because the Eagles look like the team to beat right now with their rookie quarterback. So it's going to be fun in the NFC East. We need to get that division back to relevance like it had been for a long time, and then lately not so much.
Ask Mooch to end the Mondays with Mooch segment. The poll question, Chris Brockman. Go for it.
Hey, Mooch, who's the most surprising 3-0 team? Broncos.
The Vikings.
He didn't stutter. Why do you say that?
Vikings because, hey, and you know what? Just think about this. If Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get hurt in practice, okay, Carson Wentz is still a North Dakota State Bison on the bench, and nobody knows who he is because Bradford would be their quarterback, okay? But all of a sudden, by virtue of Bradford leaving, going to the Vikings, and then Carson becomes a star. He's like the rock star over there now. And then Bradford is playing out of his mind, really without – I don't want to demean their receiving core because Rudolph's a good player, the tight end, and then Stephon Diggs is a fifth-rounder from last year. No Adrian Peterson, no left tackle. I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding me. How are they 3-0? Well, it's defense. But right now, the Vikings, they're in the driver's seat over there. I'm really surprised. My hat is off to Mike Zimmer.
See you Thursday night, Mooch.
All right, man. Thanks.
Take care. It's Steve Mariucci.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.